I am so excited right now, I am actually shaking. The Toy Story 4 teaser came out today. It's officially the best day of my life. Like, in order, Meeting Incredibles 2 directors, birth of my kids, Toy Story 4 teaser coming out today. Okay, that may have been exaggerated a little. I don't actually have kids. But genuinely, I've been waiting for today for so long because I can finally silence the idiots who think that Toy Story 4 is unnecessary. This is gonna be fun. Like, just since the teaser dropped, which was mere hours ago, I've already uncovered hundreds of tweets calling this film unnecessary. But the reality is, the trailer reveals exactly why this film is necessary. Why you're probably expecting me to make the argument, well, technically every film's unnecessary. Technically the first Toy Story film and the second Toy Story film and the third Toy... I'm not, actually, because I understand the argument against this film is that Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to the overall story. And I agree to some extent that Toy Story 3 has a perfect ending. But I don't agree that it should mark the end of the franchise. You see, when watching Toy Story 3 on its own without watching Toy Story or Toy Story 2 beforehand, it can unintentionally give the impression that the Toy Story trilogy is all about Andy. That it was all about a boy growing up with his toys and eventually growing out of them and passing them on, but it isn't. You see, the films were never about Andy, they were about his toys. It's Toy Story, not the adventures of Andy's toys story. Andy is a plot device. He's there so that things can happen to the toys for the plot to move forward. And well, the only film where they explore the idea of him growing out of his toys is Toy Story 3 itself. Like, yeah, it's mentioned at the end of Toy Story 2 and plays a part in Woody's motivation, and that's the reason why Toy Story 3 is such a good sequel. But trying to claim that the story was always about Andy growing up with his toys only to eventually move on from them is so clearly not the creator's intentions in Toy Story and Toy Story 2. I never felt like I needed explaining, but if you're confused to who these films are about, look no further than the Toy Story 4 official poster released today. These films are about Woody. Well, so before I go on, can we just appreciate the branding here? Like, the marketing team are so confident in their brand, they don't need to put the title or anything of any importance on the poster. It's literally just a picture of Woody with the date the film comes out. That is, by definition, big energy. And well, if you were confused and thought these films were about Andy, the fact that Woody on his own is the poster for Toy Story 4 should show to you these films are about Woody. Because Woody isn't just the main character. These films are all about him evolving as a toy and as a character. And he is one of the best written characters in cinema history. No exaggeration, I believe that. Like, the first film isn't about Buzz becoming Andy's new favorite toy. It's about Woody learning how to deal with not necessarily being the favorite toy. At first he acts rashly, and in original drafts he was even scripted to be the villain, but of course the creators came to their senses and realized that that wasn't the right direction to take his character, and if that doesn't show how important his character and personality is to the films, I don't know what will. And in the original Toy Story, he grows to learn that it's not about being the favorite toy, it's just about making his child, Andy, happy. A message he not only learns from, but goes on to preach in Toy Story 2.
Come on, Jesse. This is what it's all about. To make a child happy. And you know it.
Which is much more obviously about Woody and his character. Because in this film, he learns about himself, finding out where he came from, and seemingly for the first time in his life, realizes that Andy won't be there forever. Which is why for a split second, he considers moving on from Andy. But once again, he grows to realize that to fulfill his role of being a toy, to make your child happy, he has to be there for that child. Always. And make sure you're taking notes. It's about him being there for Andy, never Andy being there for him, except right at the end of the final film, which is why it makes it so sad.
Do I really have to talk about Toy Story 3?
Toy Story 3 reveals that Woody's stuck by Andy all the way into his adulthood, suffering through years of not being played with until Andy goes off to college, which is when Judgment Day arrives. And need I remind you, who does Andy pick to bring to college? Woody, not Buzz. Woody. And Woody stays true to what he learned in Toy Story 2 and was so willing to go to college with Andy, showing he will go above and beyond to always be there for him. Until once again, he grows as a character. Remembering the whole point of being a toy is to make a child happy, and well, Andy isn't a child anymore. Meaning the days of bringing Andy happiness were clearly in the past, and that there was another kid out there who probably needed him and his toys more, and he tells Andy to pass the toys on to Bonnie, and It's so good. Getting us to Toy Story 4. And the argument I have an understanding for is that Woody has done it all now when it comes to being a toy. He's dealt with being replaced, broken, stolen, and made the ultimate sacrifice moving on from his original owner. Like, what more is there for a toy to do? Unless he's gonna get a 9-to-5 job, what reason is there to make a sequel? And if you were thinking Toy Story 4 was unnecessary for this specific reason, I understand why you may have thought that. It's actually a valid reason, or it was a valid reason, until today, where along with the teaser trailer of Toy Story 4, they provided a brief synopsis of the film, reading, Woody has always been confident about his place in the world and that his priority is taking care of his kid, whether that's Andy or Bonnie. But when Bonnie adds a reluctant new toy called Forky to her room, a road trip adventure alongside old and new friends will show Woody how big the world can be for a toy. Showing there's clearly still a good story to be told, and that's just so exciting for me. Because whenever I'm asked what ideas I want to see explored in Toy Story 4, I always genuinely and unironically say, I want toys to die. Because toy death is a concept completely unexplored so far. Like, it's shown to be a thing, and the idea was teased at the end of Toy Story 3. But realistically I knew the chances of making a film exploring toy death was unlikely. Like, these films obviously have a primary demographic of kids. And well, what are the chances of them making an entire film based around death? What are the chances of them making 2 films based around death in 2 years? But I realize now, I was just in the wrong mindset. And the real question that needs exploring so much more is, why do toys come to life? Like, literally the opposite of toy death. Which brings us to the teaser of this film, introducing us to the new character called Forky. A spork that Bonnie has made in an arts and crafts class, I'm guessing. I don't know how they're planning on selling these as toys, but count me in. And from the description we get, Bonnie presumably treats this spork as a toy, and that causes this spork to come to life. But it reveals it doesn't want to be there.
I don't belong here!
Almost as if it doesn't feel like it belongs being alive because, well, it's a spork. I don't know if that's completely right, that's just my interpretation of it, but if I am right, that means this film will finally provide us with the answer to the question that is literally the premise of the Toy Story series. Being, why do these objects we call toys come to life when humans leave the room? And well, if it does answer this question, wouldn't that make this one the most important Toy Story film? Or do you want to continue to tell me that this film's unnecessary? I'm sure you have a valid reason that you've commented down below, you hater. Because I genuinely believe all the questions we've ever had about the Toy Story films are going to be answered in Toy Story 4. Especially including what happened to Bo Peep Pixar, because I don't see her in this trailer and you better have kept that plotline in the film. I'm just saying, it would be a missed opportunity if you didn't, because so many people dress up as Woody and Jessie for Halloween every year and they're not a couple. Buy a t-shirt in the description down below. Also, I just want to point out, I made a video on the 20th of September 2017 where I spoke about how there are some toys in the Toy Story films where I don't understand the logistics of how they can come to life. And then 9 months later, it comes out that Pixar threw out most of the script for Toy Story 4 and we're starting from basically scratch, only to seemingly make a Toy Story film about the logistics of how toys come to life. Like, I'm not saying I'm the one that gave them the idea for the film, but I'm also totally saying Toy Story 4 was my idea. I'm sorry. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see my thoughts on the other Toy Story films in podcast form, I featured on the Bacon and Eggs podcast for like 3 weeks, and there are all 3 episodes in the description down below. If you've got a bit of free time, I think you'll enjoy it. Go follow me on Twitter where I'm trying to hit 20,000 followers, and Instagram where I've got 30,000, but it'd be nice to have 40, I guess. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking here. You can watch another Toy Story 4 video where I talk about who the villain might be from what I found in The Incredibles 2. However, I haven't checked the film for a spork yet, so I could just be completely wrong. You can check out my merch here and in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'm not a toy! You are!